What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This section of videos is going to be all about the Photoshop tools, and what I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you what the tool is, what it does. I'm also going to explain all about the options that you have for the tools, which is going to be at the top right here under the menus. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, smash that like button, turn on the post notifications so you know whenever I come out with new stuff. And with all that said, let's get right into the Photoshop tools. So this section of tools we got is the direct selection tool and the path selection tool. The path selection tool, and what it does is it basically you can just select the whole entire path or shape, and you can move it quickly. The shape or path stays in their original form, but it's just a quick way to select the entire thing and move it around if you want. The direct selection tool, this is a little bit different than the path tool. This lets you select, move, or modify paths, shapes, and anchor points. So you can see here, we can select the entire shape, or we can select just an individual anchor point. We can move this. We can select multiple anchor points. If we select one, hold shift, select another one. Say we want those ones selected, and we can move all those at once. And with this, you can move the handles for the anchor points also. If you got a handle and you hold Alt, you can break that handle to where you're only controlling one end of it. This is a shape, but it also works on paths too, so same thing. You can come move it around, select an anchor point, select the handle. So for the path and the direct selection tool, both of them, the options up here are the same. So I'll just go over it. You got the select drop down. This lets you select between having active layers, or it'll go through all the layers. I just duplicated it and made two. So as you can see, this is a highlighted layer, so I can move it around, but I can't do anything with this other line, right? Because it's not the active layer. So if I went to all layers, you could just basically select and move each one. It don't have to be the active layer. Next we got fill and stroke. Obviously fill is just the inside color of the shape. If you want it to just be an outline, you can click this here and it'll have no fill. Okay, the stroke is the outline color. You can change it whatever color we want. You can also click here to open the color picker, and then you can customize it. You can enter in RGB values, HSB values, CMYK if you want. And then this is just the stroke thickness. You can click this and slide it up or down. Next, this is the stroke type. There's three options. You got the straight line, the dashes, or the dots. Now for a line, this is your stroke, right? You see how the path, the actual vector path, where it's got the anchor points connected to it, right? It's in the middle of the stroke. So caps and corners, these are just for where the anchor point ends. You can see it's got different capping. That means, say there was a path with a point that didn't connect to another point. These are basically end caps to a path. Then corners, obviously this is for corners of paths, like right here. If we change this to smooth, you can see how this kind of smooths out. Then if you click on more options, this just opens the stroke dialog box, and it's got pretty much the same options as you do on here. You got your line, caps, corners. Here it'll actually show you what they're called. So inside, center, outside, butt, round, and square. Then for corners we got meter, round, and bevel. The only real difference about it is you can make your own custom dash line. So if I click this and I put a dash, this is how many pixels. So if I want a dash for Let's just do 1 pixel to show you, and then a gap of 0.5 pixels. If you just do 1 dash and 1 gap, it'll have it uniform throughout the whole thing. But you can add to it if you want. Say we want 2 pixels for the second dash. Usually I just use 2, 1 dash, 1 gap, because it's easier and more uniform, right? Then we just got this. You can save the stroke, delete it, copy it, paste it, and same thing, opens up the stroke dialog box. Then after that, we got the width and the height. Pretty self-explanatory. If you increase the width, you can see it makes it wider. If you increase the height, it makes it taller. You can also link them together, and we can bring them both down at the same time. Then we got path operations. And if you've used Adobe Illustrator, this is pretty much like the Pathfinder options. You can either make new layer, combine the shapes, subtract from shape, intersect shape areas, exclude overlapping shapes, and then merge shape contents. I'll get more into this with the other shape tools. It'll be easier to explain then. Next is path alignment, and this just has your align and distribute options. You can also choose to align it to a certain selection, or you can align it to the canvas itself. Arrangement. Now this is pretty easy to explain too. You can see these pictures here. They got the actual layers. So think of the sheets of paper as layers, and then the layers here, right? So bring the front brings the layer all the way to the top. Bring shape forward, we'll bring it up 1 layer. Bring shape backward, we'll bring it down 1 layer. And then send shape to back, we'll send it all the way to the bottom. Pretty easy to understand when you think of these as just layers or sheets of paper, right? Align edges, it's just self-explanatory, just aligns the edges. Then we got path options, and I have a path on here. Let me just clear this stuff. Now I have a path right here. Okay, you can't really see it right now, but if we go to path options, all right, so here is where you can change the thickness and the color. The max thickness you can do for an actual path is 3. Then the color, I usually just keep it at the default blue because it's pretty easy to tell what's the actual path. So that's your path options. And then we got constrained path dragging checkbox. Usually just always leave this checked. This is when the direction handles of a curve are constrained to keep their direction while the curve is being dragged. I'll show you more about this when we get to the pen tool. Comment down below if you got any questions or comments. I'll be sure to get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.